What up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up? What is going on, y'all? That's my boy Julian. I'm Will. Guys, we got a big podcast today. We're gonna be talking a little bit about soccer, about football, whatever you guys want to call it. Listen, y'all, we got a big controversy. My boy Julian's gonna break it down for all of you guys watching that don't know the full analogy, or not analogy, the full analytics of what's going on right now. But before we start, Julian, how you doing? Getting ready for it?
Doing good. And as you guys can tell, the title of this video, we're going to be talking about how Inter Miami has now officially qualified to the Club World Cup as the host nation representative. As everybody knows, if you don't know already, the Club World Cup, brand new competition that's going to be happening next summer in 2025, hosting the United States. There's going to be 12 teams from Europe, 6 from CONMEBOL, 4 from CONCACAF, Asia, and Africa, 1 from Oceania, and then 1 from the host nation. So CONCACAF is technically getting 5. The CONCACAF spots were already taken up, and that's taken up by Monterrey, León, Seattle Sounders, and Pachuca. And now Miami's going to be taking. So the big thing, and obviously the big controversy, is at the end of the season, when a couple of days ago, the FIFA president showed up at the Supporter Shield ceremony where Inter Miami beat New England Revolution to set the MLS all-time points record in a regular season, now etching themselves in history as the greatest regular season in MLS ever. At the end of the celebration, he shows up and basically says that FIFA has, out of further consideration, has invited Inter Miami to the Club World Cup because of what they achieved. Now, here's where the controversy lies for those who don't know. Is one, the spot is determined by FIFA with recommendations from the U.S. Soccer Federation and MLS. But for the most part, it is the final decision, the final say-so comes from FIFA themselves. Now, there's been talk of how they're going to determine this final spot from the host nation, but there's nothing set in stone, which I personally thought was a little weird. Because you would think going into the season, like, hey, let's establish how this spot is going to be given out. That never happened. Nothing ever happened. And I remember, like, even in the summer, like, are they going to say so? Everybody kind of assumed, all right, it's just going to be the MLS Cup winner. That's who's going to give it to. But still nothing came out. And then all of a sudden, when Inter Miami beat Columbus Crew, they got the Supporter Shield. Rumors started floating that now that Inter Miami has won the Supporter Shield, that they're gonna give this spot to the Supporter Shield winners. Obviously, everybody who doesn't like all the Messi hype and meat riding and all this other stuff, they hate it or whatever, which understandably so.
The FIFA boy.
But
now I'm playing with you guys.
I do want to point this to you, Will. Now that I've kind of breaking down everything. For you, what do you think of all this?
Yeah, it's interesting. Like you said, Julian, my take on it, it's not – listen, I'll say it, dude, all the people, those – I hate to say this word, them dumbasses out there that say FIFA meat rise, FIFA loves Messi, FIFA loves Argentina, FIFA needs to give Messi a trophy, yada, yada, all that bull crap garbage. Listen, man, I'm not for it. I don't listen to it. But, dog, I got to say, this looks sketchy. This whole thing, dude, and like I said, I don't believe that Argentina was gifted the World Cup. I don't believe that Inter Miami was gifted a spot in the CONCACAF Champions Cup because of him. I don't think they won the Leagues Cup last year because FIFA loves Messi and CONCACAF wanted them to win. I don't believe in any of that crap. I don't believe that he won the Ballon d'Oro last year just because he's Messi. I think he won it because he's earned it. Leo Messi has obviously deserved every single thing he has. And to be quite blunt with you and to be quite honest with you, Julian, and just I'm going to be honest, even if it was the MLS Cup winner, because obviously FIFA wanted to select another host nation, a team from the United States to go represent with obviously the Seattle Sounders and other teams in the region and CONCACAF and León and all the other and Monterrey and them. But Dude, Inter Miami, in my personal opinion, and we're talking about this, we'll talk about this, and if you guys haven't watched it in our other podcast videos, a little bit about the MLS Cup playoffs and previews. Inter Miami was just going to win.
Okay, Will kind of cut out there. All right, you're back, Will.
You know, it's an interesting. It's just weird the way it happened. If it would have been a little bit more, if these guys could have been a little bit more less abrupt about it, been like if Gianni Infantino, him showing up to the New England game after winning the Supporter Shield, I think that's what throws everybody off. I think that just announcement of like fans.
I think that made it worse. I agree.
It's almost like the topping. I'm talking about, Julian. I'm talking about when you have the most ass ice cream in the world and you just take expired chocolate and you just start spraying that sucker all over it. Dude, he just took the dirty ass sprinkles that you just dropped on the floor and he just put it all on top of the ice cream. He just put it all over your rotten ass ice cream. I'm talking about Gianni Infantino's little speech, his little ice cream. It's these little shreds of pieces to just tear into the rest of the world and just keep the conspiracy going. They don't need this to keep going. Dude, listen, this debate, Ronaldo, Messi, Ronaldo, the World Cup was rigged, the handball against the Netherlands, they robbed against France, blah, 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 all this bull crap. It's not real. It's not true. It's just made up narratives that people want to believe. But dog, this just keeps the narrative going and going. And it's like, dude, like how much more?
Okay, so I'll say this, and mind you, for everybody who's watching this for the first time or finding us for the first time, I am an Inter Miami fan. No, I have not become a Inter Miami fan since Messi came. I've been here since before the team even entered the MLS because I was rooting for them to finally start the season. I've been following since Beckham announced that he was going to put a team in Miami. So don't get me with this bias. I've been a fan since July 2023. No, I've been there since the hard times and terrible seasons and Phil Neville era. But look, I see both sides of it. And what bothers me is that the grounds were never established. If Miami won it, they won it. But the ground should have been established before the season started. And it seems like they were like, let's see how this Inter Miami team pans out and then kind of go from there. Because say if Miami ended up being a bust, Messi tore his ACL, Suarez sucked, Busquets was washed and he couldn't handle it anymore, and Jordi Alba was all right, and then you're playing. All right, say how the season just goes to absolute shit. It explodes. It's whatever. I feel like they would have been like MLS Cup winner. Now, as the season went on, because a lot of people didn't predict Inter Miami to be a Supporter Shield winner. I didn't personally. I didn't think the team had the depth. I thought there was a lot of injuries. I thought the back line was super sketch at times, and a lot of injuries back there as well. And then Messi with MLS playing through stupid international windows, he was guaranteed to miss like 6 games, and not just him, but other players like Diego Gomez and so on and so forth. I'm like, all right, Supporter Shield's out of the race. I think there's just too many games that a lot of our best players are going to be missed. But I think as time went on and they're like, oh, wow, this team is actually continuing to play well, even without their star players. They're still winning games. You still got Campana scoring. Suarez didn't even need Messi. He's still scoring out of his mind. I think as the Supporter Shield race started to get more and more realistic, I think that's when they started discussing decisions like, hey, let's make it the Supporter Shield winner. I don't like that. Like I said, I believe you should establish the grounds. But I'm going to say this too. For all the people that are crying about Inter Miami getting it and saying that Columbus deserves it, that I don't fucking understand at all. Why would Columbus deserve it? Because they won MLS Cup last year? No, I don't think we should go based off last 2023 results for a 2025 World Cup. It should be based off of this season. If Columbus wins it, then yeah. But I will say this. If you're the outside looking in and you're not in the MLS sphere like we are, every other league in the world determines their champion by regular season. There is no postseason. And if FIFA's the one picking it,
Yeah.
I guess you can make the argument that, hey, we're going to pick the winner based off how international determines their domestic league champions. But also, if you want to disregard that, why wouldn't you want to have the team with the greatest MLS season ever, the team that proved to be the most consistent, has the best players in the league? Wouldn't you want them to represent the MLS in the Club World Cup? I
Yeah.
would. Like, Inter Miami literally pulled off the greatest season ever
Yeah.
with some of the best players in the league by far. I feel like if you're an MLS fan or just a fan of MLS and you're just, you're rooting for like MLS teams in CONCACAF or you're rooting for MLS teams in this upcoming Club World Cup, wouldn't you want the team that was most consistent, the team that's truly the best? Because we've seen countless times in MLS that the team that win the Supporter Shield don't end up winning MLS Cup. Sometimes you get fluky champions that really weren't that good of a team, but they just went on a streak during the playoffs. Look at New England Revolution, for example, the previous record holders with 73 points in 2021. They ended up losing to NYCFC and getting knocked out, but we all knew they were the best team in the league. So I'll be honest, I actually like the idea, instead of it being MLS Cup champion, I like the idea more of it being the Supporter Shield champion, regardless of who won it. Say if it was the LAFC that won Supporter Shield champion and then Miami won the MLS Cup, obviously I don't think FIFA's going to do that. I think they're going to pick then Miami as the MLS Cup winners. But like, I personally would rather have the Supporter Shield winner. I just think how everything turned out was just way too shady. And that's where the problem lies. And I would say that's where the problem lies for a lot of people, is that it was just way too shady. But I will say this, I would want the Supporter Shield winner to represent MLS. To me, it makes the most sense. Versus like, say if fucking Colorado goes on a run out of nowhere.
And wins it. Yeah.
Do you really want Colorado representing LA? I get that's how we determine our champion. I understand that. But but I think it's a mixture of both. And that's where I kind of lie, is like, I think it was shady. I think they clearly waited for Miami to for sure have the Supporter Shield race in the bag. And we're like, all right, we're picking that. But if we look at it from also like a sporting standpoint, Supporter Shield also makes the most sense. And also it makes the most sense to put in the team with the best season ever. Yeah. So, and potentially the best player in the league, regardless of whoever wins the MVP or not. But yeah, man, any final thoughts on that, Will? Anything after hearing my perspective that you wanted to add to, or
I think you summed it up quite well, Julian. I think, like you said, dude, listen, keep it simple, keep it quite blunt with you. I think people would rather watch Lionel Messi than Cucho Hernandez. It's simple.
And yeah, I mean, too, if you look at the business of like they're trying to grow the game in the sport, obviously you want Messi in there, but I don't necessarily like that either, because I'm a guy where I'm like, I want it all based on sporting merit. But
I think it would
the powers that be.
And I just think it would bring more hype and more energy. I mean, listen, dude, it's the truth. Like, people don't want to watch that. Oh my God, am I cutting out? Jeez. All right, guys. Yeah. But yeah, that's what I think. Good for y'all, man. So hopefully, I hope Inter Miami can shut some haters up, man. Because listen, Julian, I'll say that real quick. Last thing. If y'all go to the FIFA Club World Cup, which you're going, and y'all get your ass spanked by Auckland City FC, oh my God, Julian, the people are going to be loud in the background, brother. They're going to be, I'm talking about, if you get your ass beat by Al Hilal, not Al Hilal, but Al Hilali FC from Egypt, or a team, I forgot the other teams from Africa. I think there's a team from Morocco in there.
Yeah, there's a team from Morocco.
Sundown. Like, dog, if Wyatt FC beats y'all, brother, I'm just going to say it's over. It's over for you guys.
Well,
man.
Look, man, I will say that Egyptian team, Al Ali or something like that, they beat Seattle Sounders in the previous Club World Cup was Sounders made. So actually,
that's Seattle Sounders.
Real quick,
they can't.
And look, we're gonna go deeper into this as the tournament gets closer, obviously. So if you guys want to keep up with us, please make sure to subscribe and like and follow because we're going to be
Yeah,
talking
so
about every major tournament, international or club. But I do want to ask you, Will,
yeah.
quick thoughts. Like it seems like
Mm.
everything's pretty much set. The only spot left is the winner of the 2024 Copa Libertadores, which
Ooh,
in
yeah.
my opinion, is either going to be River Plate or Botafogo. But
Yeah.
everything else is set. How do you think these two MLS teams will perform, Sounders and Miami?
Yeah, yeah. Oh shit, man. Listen, I gotta be real with you, Julian. I think it's gonna be tough. I think it's gonna be really hard for both teams. Listen, it always is. It always is, even at the normal Club World Cup, one representative. We saw Seattle Sounders obviously struggled. These Mexican teams in the past years, I mean, it's been over decades since they really were able to make some noise at the FIFA Club World Cup. So I think it's gonna be
They've been
tough
off and
for
on. Like
both
they
of
have
them.
good games. Like some
Yeah,
of these Liga Mexican, like Monterrey had like Monterrey put
Monterrey,
like Liverpool on the ropes that one year.
Cruz
I believe it
Azul
was
as well.
Liverpool. Yeah, it was
I think
Liverpool.
Cruz Azul, if I'm not wrong, was like I think they were going. I'm talking about they were going punch for punch with like I want to say it was Palmeiras or somebody like that. There was the CONMEBOL representative, but dude, they will go band for band with some of these teams. I think Inter Miami can. I think Seattle Sounders can. The fact that this tournament will be played in the United States, I think they have to go band for band. Listen, I don't expect Inter Miami to beat this Dortmund. I don't expect Inter Miami to beat Real Madrid. I'm just going to be blunt with you, Julian. I would love to see that. I don't think Seattle Sounders are going to walk in this stadium and they're going to go kick Barcelona's ass. That's just not going to happen. But I will say this to you, though. I think these teams got to go band for band, not only with the other teams in the region, but with other teams around the world, and especially the Asian Confederation. Saudi Arabia is getting a lot of talk, a lot of hype. Al Hilal, who beat Inter Miami preseason 6-0, and Al Nassr, who beat him as well. They're all going to be there. So
Well,
listen,
Al
dude, I
Nassr's
think
not
y'all
going to
got to
be
go.
there,
Well,
but
not
yeah,
Al
Al
Nassr,
Hilal's
but
going to be.
Al Hilal. But listen, I think y'all going to go band for band. Julian, how do you see it? Inter Miami winning this cup, or are they going to be a bust? Or is it
They're not
live?
going to win. They're not going to
Yeah,
win. But here's my expectations of the tournament. One, I think they gotta beef up in the winter. They have
they
to.
got to.
They have to. I'm Jordan Morris is not cutting it. Like a Jordan Morris, he might be good enough for
No.
MLS, but he's not cutting it. I believe Alec Rusnek is a guy who can compete in a tournament like this. I will say
Mm-hmm.
this: if this was the Seattle Sounders team that won the CONCACAF Champions League at the time, if it was
They
that
could keep
team,
beat.
I think they
Yeah.
would look pretty competitive. I think they could win some games. This current Seattle team, I'm not necessarily super high on. So I'm
Mm-mm.
curious to see. They have to do something in the winter because you got to be looking at like, hey, look, we got to let Seattle beef up. I think Inter Miami is going to, for the most part, run it back. Obviously, they're going to lose Diego Gomez going to Brighton, but
Yeah.
most of those players are going to stick around. Suarez has already talked about how he wants a contract extension. So unless they find somebody to replace Diego Gomez, it seems like that team's pretty much going to be the same. So I will
Yeah.
say I think these Seattle, Miami, especially Miami, should be able to compete with all the Asian and African teams. Al Hilal is going to be a tough ask because also Neymar is actually on the brink of coming back. I know it's a little off topic, but Neymar is actually supposed to be coming back for them, but we'll see
Came
how
back
well he
today.
plays.
Yep.
But the Saudi Arabia teams are going to be tough, but I believe that Inter Miami can compete with the Red Dragon. Is it the Red Dragons or the Red Diamonds? I'm drawing like the J
Red
League team,
Dragons.
and then the Red Dragons, and then the Korean team. I believe they can compete. They can play well against those teams. I believe they can win those games, honestly, and I think they can beat anybody in Africa too. I think the Egyptian squad is going to be very tough, but realistically, I think those are going to kind of all be on the same level, except for Al Hilal. I think they're going to be a little bit of a level above. So I expect to win some and compete in some of those games. I don't think you shouldn't be getting blown out. As for the CONMEBOL teams, I would like to see if they face up, because this is all, I guess it's pretty much guaranteed they're going to probably play one from each continent. But as for a CONMEBOL team, I think it depends on the CONMEBOL team. I think Miami and Seattle can compete with River and Boca. The Brazilian teams, that's kind of a tough ask because I think you start to get to a little bit more of a higher level there. Miami could probably compete with like a Palmeiras or a Fluminense, but I don't. They shouldn't get blown out, but it should be competitive. I think they could, if they can keep it within 1 to 2 goals, that should be competitive. Right. Now, as for the UEFA teams, be honest with you, bro, outside of Salzburg,
nobody's competing with them.
And I think, honestly, I think they could beat. I think one of those 2 teams could beat Salzburg because I don't rate. I mean, we're talking about Salzburg in Champions League. They look awful. Like, I mean, granted, it's a different level, but like, I believe an MLS team can beat Salzburg, Seattle or Miami. Now, as for the rest of the 11, no shot, Bayern dude. Munich, like they're going to get. I want to. It's Chelsea, City, Munich, Dortmund, Benfica, Porto, PSG, Atletico, Real Madrid. Like they're just going to get smoked. Like, I mean, it's not even going to be close. But I will say this. I would hope that they at least compete against the African Asian teams and win some of those games, and also just be able to compete against CONMEBOL teams.
Agreed. Yeah.
But or you never know. Maybe give a fight to a big dog. You never know. What Miami plays Juve? You give it a little,
little tussle.
Keep it a little close. It's possible. I mean, we've seen crazier things happen in Champions League, for example.
Yeah.
So,
now, Julian, let me ask you this real quick to end the pod. Last quick talking point, real quick, and we'll end it up. Are these top dog teams, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, City?
Barca's not in it. Barca's not in it. I'm lying to you guys. Atletico Madrid. Are they going to send? Are they going to send their top? I'm talking about top-notch teams. Yes. Vinicius is going to be there. Rodrigo. Jude Bellingham, and they're going to play full out. They're going to go hard. Yes. Send it. FIFA's not going to let them. This is FIFA's new thing, their new project, and I think FIFA. And I'm not even going to say it's just FIFA. I think everybody else in the world, they want this to be a big thing outside of like European fans. The European fans are the only fans I see really complaining about this, which I think there's a realistic argument about players getting played too much. I 100% agree with them. And I think they need to find a way to reduce games because there is too many games. But I also like the Club World Cup is a big deal outside of Europe and for these other countries. Like it was a big deal here when Seattle played in it. And I think it's a little disrespectful to just kind of gatekeep everything in Europe. It's like, and I think FIFA's job, obviously I think they're doing it for money, but at the end of the day, their job is to help grow the sport globally. And as this with internet and being able to travel faster via plane, like you want to globalize the sport more, kind of spread it out. You don't want the Europe get too far ahead like they have been over the past couple of decades. Europe is getting so far ahead. And I think the Club World Cup is a good way to kind of help close the gap a little bit more. So we'll see how these things play out. I think it has the potential to be the second biggest tournament in football, only behind the World Cup. I think it has that potential to do that. And I'm super pumped to see it. And like I said, we're going to dive deeper into it as we get closer to the tournament. So if you guys want to see our thoughts and our breakdowns on every team and every group or every round, please subscribe to the podcast, follow the podcast. And we will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, everybody.
Peace.